today we got to play
Coloma.
So, before we get started,
Coloma.
but
Yeah.
before we get started, hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, because you want to know when the next Western Wednesday is.
That's right.
I think it'll be
It's
Wednesday.
on Wednesday. I know that much.
Yeah, but they don't know.
What? They don't know what Wednesday is?
No, they don't know what we're playing. And...
Well, no, they don't know what, but they know when. It's Wednesday.
And it's Western.
Well, and then, but you know, they need the notification bell to remind them.
That is Wednesday?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I think
or
so.
use your basic calendar functions of your cell phone.
Well, that's not a bad idea either. You set up an alarm, say, "Hey, let's go check out the Legends Western Wednesday video."
I think it'd be a lot easier if you just press the notification bell, the
That would be
subscribe
easy.
button.
Yeah.
You just go down a little bit and
Yeah.
press some buttons. Rob, tell us more about this game.
All right, so this is the deluxe version of Coloma. So the retail version is not. This is not available for retail. The standard version I didn't see available for retail, but it's easier to get on secondary markets. So this plays 1 to 6. Board Game Geek rating of 7.8. Designers Johnny Pack. Art by the Miko. Published by Final Frontier Games. So like I said, this is the deluxe version. Can't find it for retail. I saw it on Geek Market. Internationally, nothing sold in the U.S. for €80 and higher. So it's going pretty good for a good price.
Johnny Pack has made a bunch of our Western Wednesdays.
Yes, and then the standard version I found for cheaper. I'm assuming the standard version doesn't have like the stand or wooden people, probably not
these
nice,
poker chips.
or the poker chips. Now I found that on eBay for €52 and the Geek Market for €40, but nothing.
Just the poker chips, or the game?
The game.
Oh.
So I'm just the thing is though, it just didn't be resold in the United States anywhere.
Huh.
So
I'm glad I
Wow.
backed it.
Yeah.
I did too. I'm glad I did. I think I backed it first and you backed it after me because I have such good taste in games.
All right, so let's get into quality of pieces. So you do have these screen printed wooden characters, as well as meeple shaped tents and little cowboys. They got little hats and everything. You have these gorgeous poker chips.
Yeah, I really
nice
like the
weight
poker
to
chips.
them.
Really good.
Really
poker
nice.
Yeah, I was surprised by the weight on them because usually with poker chips in a game like this, you would expect them to be plastic or lightweight chips. Because
I think
these are heavier, I think, than the ones that are the iron clays from.
I think it's about the same. I think it feels like 11.5 grams.
Okay.
Which is the standard poker chip, I believe.
And then the first player is a nice metal sheriff's badge.
Yep, I think that's also part of the deluxe.
Yeah, and it is pretty hefty too.
You can hurt somebody if you throw it at them.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do it.
Then you have then you have a lot of other cardboard pieces, card quality.
You have carved wooden horses.
You got carved wooden horses.
And there's donkeys, which are like way larger than the horses for some reason.
Yeah.
You got little wooden shaped wagons. You got cool.
The score marker is a spade.
I love that.
Was kind of cool.
Yeah, I love that.
You do have linen finish on the cards. Card thickness, I actually think is pretty good.
Yeah.
So
the gold is plastic, but it still looks like gold.
And it's different shaped gold. You don't see it shaped like that very often. Usually
it's
gold bars.
I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's So
the one thing that's bad is there's a wooden card. Or a cardboard cart. This is the same company that released Merchant's Cove.
Right.
And it seems like any of the assembly of items that they have, this one only has the cart, whereas Merchant's Cove had a whole bunch of stuff to assemble, shells and boats and everything, but they misprint it or have it in such a way that it gets damaged in the process.
Yeah,
so ours got torn in the process of assembly around the joints.
And my personal copy did as well, and it's just because the cutting of where the notches doesn't go all the way through. And so because it's so small, when you pop it out, it just tears it. There's no way around it.
Yeah, so that's kind of sad because you have such a nice piece and then it gets destroyed in process, and that just really.
Well, it's not destroyed, but it's.
Well, I mean, but
it's definitely damaged, and it turns a relatively pretty little pool of the game to something that it's pretty glaring.
Yeah. I mean, especially with, I would almost say this. Apart from that, this game is almost flawlessly designed as far as the components quality. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean the only thing they could have done better is to upgrade the gold
to a metal,
and then that was it. Like that's all I think this really needed here.
It's the board is beautiful and
it's got a really
well
unique.
designed.
The rondelle is really unique in the fact that it's held
it's
together by magnets.
That is really cool.
I remember the Kickstarter, they making a big deal out of that.
Yeah.
Is that they were able to get that final goal of making a magnet on the board for the rondelle.
So, give it a score, guys.
I'm disappointed by the cart. So, I think that's a full point, I think, in the negative. So, I think I would have gave it a 9, maybe even a 9.5, but I want to go an 8.5.
Okay. What about you?
I was going to give it a perfect 10 if not for the cart. I'm going to give it a 9.5. I mean, it is so well done.
It's really
the only other thing I saw was there's a couple of the wooden bits that had some notches in them, but you see that. I mean, that's just carvings of wood. I mean,
and to be honest, too, I was very careful in punching these out. If I wasn't so careful, these would have got tore up, too.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Final Frontier needs to work on their quality of their cardboard in general, and I think with their latest Kickstarter, they've been doing that because it's delayed. It's been delayed several times, and one of the reasons they brought up for the delay in this last email was the fact that there were so many complaints about Merchant's Cove and the quality of the assembly of the cardboard. So I think they're taking it to heart, and hopefully the next release that we get from Kickstarter for them is going to be better. But yeah, it was a huge problem with Merchant's Cove.
Right.
I'm only going to give it a half point off because that's such a minor component of the game, and when you compare it to everything else,
I think you're right. I think I'd bump mine up to a 9.
Yeah, I'm actually agreeing with you, Randy. As far as what can you make this better, not a lot. Like I said, if these were metal, it would be a 10 for me. But because it's not, I'm going to hit a 9.5. So overall, fantastic. So moving on to theme.
It's a Western game.
Well, better than that, I'll say of all the Western games we've played thus far, this one is the most holistically Western game we've played. We've had aspects on lots of different aspect games of Westerns. You know, we had Bang, which was very specifically guns. You know, we've had I'd say Carson City is the second closest we've had to a holistic Western, but it was, some of it didn't really feel that much. The cards aren't really represented too much. There's you had a building that was card related, but I really think they pulled it out with the icon or the score things being spades was really cool. I don't think how you could fit poker into this because there's so much going on with this game already. But I'd say this is probably the most holistically Western game we've played.
This definitely, for me, felt Western.
Yeah.
Like, I'm traveling across the map. I'm trying to find different locations. I've got a fight over here on the other side. I'm trying to build a town.
You're digging for gold.
I'm digging for gold. I'm trying to build bridges.
Through painting through river.
Right.
Bridges.
And I'll be honest, I loved my special ability, even though I didn't use it once.
But explain it. So what's your name?
My character is the Madame, and she sells people for money.
It seems very appropriate.
Very appropriate.
I felt that
it's just too bad you didn't have a special card you could put her in the brothel. And you could gain extra victory points.
That would have been super
cool.
Could.
The hotel expansion.
Yeah, the hotel expansion.
You send guys to the hotel, you get
That's
victory
true
points,
too.
and then they go away.
Now, I will say, interesting enough, that my deck had to relate to if you could only do one action. Mm-hmm. And I almost felt like, well, she's the Madame, so if people are free, she gets more stuff out of them. So I just thought it was super cool and super fun, just that kind of light flair to it that I really actually appreciated in this game. So for me, theme is pretty darn high.
I agree.
I would probably give this a 9.
I think a 9.5. I think it's darn near perfect thematically. It just feels, and it's fun.
Well, I'm curious. I'm struggling to think of anything to take off for in this as far as theme.
Yeah, I really can't.
I don't know of anything that I could say that it's missing that would make it a 10. So I'm going to give it a 10.
Okay.
I can make it a 10.
I'm trying to force you to.
I mean, when you think about it, you're right. I mean, there's really nothing against it that detracts it from thematically, other than maybe the lack of a story. I mean, you really don't.
Well, there is a Welcome to Coloma page.
How would we know unless you read it, Randy?
Well, you started out with the rule book at the beginning, right?
Well, you're right, but you read the rules.
Welcome to Coloma. Coloma is the town where an unexpected event happened that shaped the history of the western frontier. Well, guess what it was? If you paid attention, you know.
Going to the moon.
Discovery of gold.
Oh, right.
In the winter of 1848, a man building a sawmill on South Fork of the American River spotted some bright nuggets in the tail race waters below. Sure enough, it was gold.
There would be gold.
Though he tried to keep his discovery a secret, words quickly spread, triggering the California gold rush of 49. Thousands of people arrived from far and wide, making Coloma one of their fastest growing boom towns in the country. Claims were staked, tents were pitched, and saloons and hotels sprung up almost overnight. Everyone wanted their cut of the land's wealth. For many it was Coloma or bust. And that's pretty much it. But, yeah, I mean, it thematically led to the gold rush, and they have the years, 1848, 1849, and then 1850 is the last year, and that's when California became.
So that's actually really cool. Yeah. So we got a 10.
Yeah.
A 10. I feel pressured. 9.5.
Yeah, that's fine.
So moving on to rules. How was that?
The rules were not bad. The big problems we had with it was during the setup.
Yeah.
The setup section was the worst part of it. So whenever it tells you to set it up, it says to fill the gold on the board
based off a number of players.
Based on the number of players, and then you're supposed to, during the player setup, which follows that, distribute gold to the players. But then they show the pictures after that showing the gold all filled in on the board up there.
Well, the key thing being that it specifically says that once you set up the board, you put all extra gold away. But then when you do the player, then it says give everybody a gold. Do you pull it from the board or do you pull it from that extra? It wasn't clear on that. And then the pictures were showing that this being full at the beginning of the game after setup. So the confusion was, where does that... So we decided to take it from the extra gold.
Well, no,
we took it from the gold.
We started that, but then when you started counting it out, you realized if you had 5 players or 6 players,
if there
it
were
would
6
have
players,
filled
it up,
that,
and you're still
and there would have been no
gold.
extra. So it had to come from there.
Right.
But the rules were very unclear on that.
Very.
Also, the dial in the center, it tells you during the setup to put it on 5 for the start of the game. But then later in the rules, it says that your first one that will be blocked by the dial is 1, which it doesn't make a lot of sense why you would set it up on 5. But then it was like, okay, well, maybe it's saying because on the first turn you turn it to at the beginning of the round. But then the pictures showed that you get the event from 5. So it didn't make any sense. There was, some confusion in the setup on, I think the images were taken in the wrong places. They should have had the images after the effect, showing it was on 1 and showing the gold that was being distributed, being removed, because that's what caused the confusion. But other than that, the rules were very straightforward. We didn't have any confusion.
What was the score?
I'm going to give it, given the confusion there, I'll give it a 7.5. I think other than that, it probably would have been a 9. I think it was pretty good, or 8 or 8.5 to 9. It was pretty good rulebook.
Okay, so going into gameplay. So this game, as far as, is pretty straightforward. So you move the rondelle to the next space. You get the event, which typically is really just giving you bonuses.
Like extra people, gold, money, cards.
Yeah, basically some of the resources, right? And then you're going to choose your action on your own little rondelle. Mm-hmm. You're going to choose it and you're going to hide it, and then everyone reveals at the same time. If 2 people choose the same one...
Not 2 people, it's the majority of the most.
Okay, so when you play with most people...
So for us, it was 2.
All right, so the majority of it, then the X moves to that space, so it blocks that secondary action, so everyone only gets to take the initial action. Because if you look on the rondelle here, there are basically an outer action and then an inner action. So that inner action is what gets blocked. Now, the different actions, basically, there's a resource gathering, which is the shovel and the wheelbarrow. Then there's the building the river and bridges action. And then there's the building the houses action, or the building action. Then there's the movement action. and then there's the militia action and tent placement action. So, you know, keeping it very basic. And then after everyone does their actions in the space location number order, so if you went to 2, you would go before someone that went to 4, and the tiebreaker is who has the sheriff. And the sheriff is got by who put the most militia in for defending against the outlaw posse.
During the previous year.
Yeah, during the previous year. And then, so basically the different resources in this game are people, gold, money, horses, tents, I think and cards.
Well, yeah. So you got. I never saw any cards that cost cards. I know you. Had
there were some,
but I didn't get any. All only resources I ever spent was horses and gold and money. So I thought that.
But cards are considered a resource.
But I thought it was interesting that you guys had cards that you could use cards as a resource.
I don't think the decks are different, are they?
So, yes, they are.
Okay, I didn't realize that. But...
Yeah, because all you can see mine is round going to places that are already filled. So that's why I didn't mind so much like blocking other people, because I was actually still okay. And I think that's the way my character is supposed to be played, is I don't mind going to the action that already has an X on it.
I mean, she's a companion, I guess, so...
Right, well, she entertains you.
Yeah.
While, you know...
Actually, I think she more irritated me than she entertained me.
But no, it makes a lot of sense. And that was something that I was saying that was actually really great.
And the other thing about setup that we didn't talk about either is your player board. So your player board has an A and B side. The A side is the same for everybody, or the B side is asynchronous, where your scoring for the rivers are different for each board. So that's a little nice little part too. So,
oh, okay. See, I think I would have played with that. I like the different aspects. How we're kind of shooting for slightly different things. So overall, really, really well. Gameplay wise, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of got frustrated in the middle of it because I made stupid mistakes because I wasn't paying attention, which is my fault. And I want to play this again though, because it was so good. It really was good. I'm probably gonna give this an 8.5 to 9 on gameplay. I haven't decided yet. What do you guys think?
I think this is definitely so far my favorite of Johnny's games. I think it's the most thematic. It's the most cohesive. I think it's pretty balanced. I think it's a really interesting. The rondel mechanic is really interesting in how you can either use it for your advantage or you can use it to block other people. And I like that part of it. And then I really like the shootout on that you do in round 5. I like that part of it as well. Being able to shoot the outlaws and get some bonus points. It was really fun. I think it's not quite perfect. It's a 9.5 though.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even discuss my favorite part of the game, which I thought was really cool, is the deck of cards. These cards, first of all, you don't have a discard pile. You don't. If you play them,
it's a pretty unique.
You have a draw pile that when you place cards back, you either choose, do you put them on top or you can bury them at the bottom. You get to decide. But the deck of cards, if you burn through the entire deck, which I did, you can take advantage of a really cool system of anytime you draw cards from that point forward, you get victory points instead. So I got a lot of points from just decking out and just burning and drawing cards, because I set myself up to every time I took one of the actions, I could draw 5 cards, and you know that gave me 5 victory points just every time I chose that action, as long as somebody didn't block me.
And we didn't even really talk about the whole traveling aspect of the game too. So that's an interesting.
And that's
part.
In-game bonus victory points as well. And also you get in-game bonus victory points for building the bridges and the river, surveying, which is cool. There's a lot of it's a
lot of scoring
game.
Yeah. A lot of scoring.
But it's a very simple game to learn. I mean, conceptually, all you're doing is picking from 1 of 5 actions every turn, and you go there and
if you're lucky, you get a bonus action.
But there's also some engine building with the card thing. So it gives you just a little bit of strategy that I really appreciate for this. It is super exciting. So what was your score for it, though?
I probably with Rob. I think it's a 9.5 for me. I think it's. I mean, I was almost hell-bent that Carson City was going to be my number 1 up until we got to one of the future ones, which I won't give away, but I think most of you already probably figure it out based on what we try out.
Hey.
But I think this is probably now overtaking Carson City for me. I think it's the one to beat. as far as the games we've played.
Yes, I'm super excited. You know, initially when we started out doing Great Westerns, I was kind of a little disappointed, but after playing this, I'm like, yes, we've gotten in some good Westerns. So that's super exciting. Absolutely love it. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We had a blast, and hopefully you did too. I highly recommend this. Might be one
if
you want to
can
grab.
track it
If
down.
you can find it.
It sounds like it's going to be hard to find. And
well,
it's
if you find it, you might want to pick it up.
But you definitely get the deluxe if you can get it.
For sure.
Absolutely,
it is definitely worth it. This is. I'm going to be adding this to our playlist for the ones for peace snobs.
Yes, absolutely. This is spot on.
So.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. We've had a great time. Bye.
Bye.